Hello, my name is Crystalline Hall, and today we will be talking about steganography and steganography detection. First, what is steganography? How is it created, and how is it detected? Second, what is the technology that is used for creating and detecting steganography? What are some cases that involve steganography? And we're going to see some examples. First, what is steganography? Steganography is writing hidden messages so that only the receiver and the sender know the existence of the hidden message. This is often known as security through obscurity and is done by using large inconspicuous files to hide files that could be incriminating. For example, if a criminal were to use a family photo of, say, a vacation to hide an incriminating file that would contain stolen credit card numbers. Now here we see how steganography is accomplished. Here's an original photo, and we see that in every photo there are millions of little pixels, and every pixel has its own unique color indicator, made up of 24 bits, or 3 bytes. 1 byte for the red content, 1 byte for the green, and 1 byte for the blue. Now, a byte is 8 bits long, and changing the least significant bit of a byte does not, especially with colors, does not alter the color drastically enough for a human eye to detect. Now, if you change the least significant bit of each of the 3 colors, you get 3 new bits for every single pixel, which allows you to hide an 8-bit letter across 2 2/3 pixels. Now we're going to talk about some technology that we might use for steganography. And here we're going to go to Steganography.com. Steganography.com is one website that allows people to download steganography tools as well as steganalysis tools. Now, steganography tools allow people to hide files within their other files. As seen here, there's various operating systems that you can download the steganography file software to work with. For example, Macintosh, Windows. And here we have steganalysis tools. Now, StegSpy is one tool that allows you to identify a steganized file. There's also such software as watermarking software, which will actually allow you to watermark any digital images, music, or software. Now, going back to the PowerPoint, going back to the technology slide, we're going to see a website that I have published regarding steganography. And here we just see the website that I created with various important information about steganography, how it's detected, as well as how it affects us. Now we see in this is an example of an original and a candidate. Now, a original is the original picture, and the carrier is the original picture that the steganized file is inserted into. The payload is the information that is inserted into the carrier. When they're combined, they are called a package, seen here. And a suspect is any file that is thought to contain a hidden file, and a candidate, as seen here, is a file that is known to have a hidden file, which is usually proven by previous analysis or statistical findings. Now, in this picture, they may look the same at first glance. However, if you see here, this calendar and this calendar. Now, this candidate file contains a 14 kilobyte file. If you notice, this calendar is a little bit darker than this calendar here. Now that may not, be very obvious to an untrained eye, but this is the reason why people use extremely complicated pictures like this one to hide their steganized file. Because large blocks of color, such as maybe this picture here, if a color has a large solid block, small changes in the pixels are more easily observed than if it's a complicated picture such as this one. Another way of detecting a steganized file is if you have two files on a computer and you know one is the original and you find one that has a slight bit more substance. Or if the second file is slightly larger than the first, that might mean that the second file contains encrypted information. Here we see how an ASCII letter, such as the capital A, can be incorporated into 3 pixels, shown here. Now these pixels are all solid red. The first byte, indicated here, is the red component, the second the green, and the third blue. As you see, these pixels have no green or blue, so they're just solid red. Now in this second group of pixels, the A is embedded into the pixel. So this first one is changed to a 0 to correspond with the first 0 in the ASCII byte. This one here, corresponds to this one, this 0 to this 0, and so on. And as you can see, changing only the last bit of each byte doesn't really change the color enough to be seen with the human eye, especially in complex pictures. Now there are many types of steganography, and they're not just digital. For example, in World War II, invisible inks were a common form of steganography. Generals would write hidden messages between the lines of seemingly innocent missives to be sent to other army generals. And because the appearance of the letter was innocent, the only way people knew if the missive had a hidden message was if they were told. Now, in ancient Greece, they had physical steganography. For example, messengers would have their heads shaved, and a hidden message was tattooed onto the top of their head, and then once the hair grew back in, you couldn't see it. However, this took a lot of time, and was often painful, so they developed a new method using wax tablets. Now, in ancient Greece, wax tablets were used to convey messages. They were planks of wood covered in wax that was scratched into to convey a message. In 440 BC, a Greek by the name of Demaratus used a wax tablet as a steganography device. He scraped all of the wax off of one of the sides of the wood, and then he carved his message into the wood itself, and then he covered the board back up with blank wax. Now, because the wax tablet appeared blank, it was not caught by the guards. And another type is null ciphers. Now, null ciphers usually fall under the category of cryptography. There are many different algorithms and ways of finding ciphers. Now, a null cipher is usually fairly simple. For example, in this null cipher here, taking the first letter of each word reveals the following phrase. News 8, weather, tonight, N-E-W-T, provide you with newt. So if you take the first letter of each word in this paragraph, it gives you the phrase, Newt is upset because he thinks he is president. This was also a way of transferring important information from army generals and also, for example, between jailmates. If two people in jail wanted to try and arrange an escape, they would send each other messages involving null ciphers. Alright, so steganography detection. If it's not obvious, how do we find it? The detection of steganography is called steganalysis. For example, with invisible ink, there has been special paper developed to reveal invisible ink, as well as various methods of revealing invisible ink on regular paper. For example, prisoners were given paper that would bleed when they tried to write on it with invisible ink. For null ciphers, there's always cryptanalysis, where they look for patterns. Now for digital steganography, we went over these terms. The payload is the message to be hidden. Carrier is the file in which the message is hidden. Package is a combination. The suspect is a file thought to contain a hidden message, and a candidate is one known to contain a hidden message. Now, forensic analysis compare a known original to a suspect or a candidate to find anomalies and to reveal the hidden files. One case that involved steganography was in March 1995 in Tokyo, Japan, where the Shinrikyo cult released sarin gas into the Tokyo subway. There were 12 dead and 6,000 more were injured. Now, law officials in Tokyo seized the computers of the Shinrikyo cult and discovered that there were many encrypted files on their computers. With decryption methods not being quite what they are today, the law officials were lucky that they were able to discover the password for these encrypted files located on a floppy disk. Now, to open a steganized file, you need the steganized file and the password, as well as the program you need to desteg. And law officials were able to take the original files, add the password, run it through the software, and create files that incriminated them in the Tokyo subway attack. So in conclusion, steganography is hiding files within other larger files, such as pictures, while keeping the original file appearing identical. And the keyword is appearing because in reality there are several bits that are changed, but they're not always readily visible. There are several cases involving steganography, including the one in Tokyo in 1995. And steganography uses least significant bit encryption to hide the files. Steganalysis, or detecting steganography, is very tricky and is one of the big concerns in law enforcement, because if the criminal has many steganized files on their computers, it's not always obvious that there is anything incriminating on the computer. For more information, that's my name, my email, and here's the website, stegoarchive.com. If you would like a link to my website that I published, feel free to email me, and I'll be happy to send you a link.